Let me ask you something real. Have you ever met a man who seemed so into you at first, texting, calling, giving you all the attention, and then out of nowhere, it just fades? No drama, no big fight, just silence. And suddenly you're wondering, was it me? Did I do something wrong? But here's the truth. Nobody tells you. You don't need to chase, impress, or even try to be on his mind. Because the most unforgettable women, the ones he can't stop thinking about weeks, months, even years later, they don't force anything. They understand a deeper kind of influence. An emotional fingerprint they leave behind without even realizing it. And once you know how to activate that, he'll find himself thinking about you when he's working, driving, scrolling, even while lying next to someone else. This isn't manipulation, it's magnetism. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to create that effortlessly. No tricks, no fake confidence, just pure feminine energy that naturally lingers in his mind. This is for women who are done shrinking, chasing, or wondering if they're too much. It's for women who want to feel wanted without working for it. So if you're ready to flip the script and become the woman he can't stop thinking about, even if you walk away, stay right here. You're about to change the way you show up forever. Let's be honest. We've all asked ourselves this. How can a man act so into you 1 minute, then vanish like you were nothing? Meanwhile, another woman barely lifts a finger, and he's hooked, obsessed, texting her good morning and good night, like his life depends on it. Why does this happen? It's not about how you look, what you said, or whether you waited the right amount of time to text back. It's deeper than that. It's emotional psychology. Here's the truth. A man doesn't remember how perfectly you fit into his world. He remembers how he felt about himself in your presence. When a woman tries to prove her worth, over-explaining, over-giving, overthinking, even with good intentions, it creates a subtle imbalance. It tells him, you are the prize. I am trying to earn you. And when he feels that power dynamic, he doesn't remember the connection. He remembers the control. And control, that doesn't create obsession. It creates comfort, and comfort fades fast. But the women he can't forget, they're not bending. They're not trying to be chosen. They're already chosen by themselves. And that self-certainty isn't loud or flashy. It's in the way she says less. It's in her boundaries. It's in the ease she carries herself with, like she doesn't need him to validate her experience. And that energy is unforgettable. Because when he's around her, he starts questioning himself. Why do I feel so drawn to her? What is it about her? It's the emotional tension, not clarity, that creates obsession. That space where he doesn't feel like he has all of her, and that he might not ever. That's what keeps her spinning in his mind, long after she's left the room. So no, it's not about being prettier, nicer, or more available. It's about being felt in a way that makes him uncomfortable, because he realizes he doesn't own her, and he never will. And that mystery, that's what he remembers, over and over again. Attraction isn't logical. It doesn't follow checklists, timing rules, or even what should make sense. The truth is, by the time someone realizes they're drawn to you, it's already happened at a subconscious level, way before they could explain it, and definitely before they could control it. This is why you can do everything right and still feel invisible. Because attraction isn't about what you do, it's about what your presence triggers in his mind. See, the subconscious mind is always looking for patterns. It responds to energy, tone, expression, and even the space between your words. The women who spark obsession often do so, not by what they say, but by what they leave unsaid. It's the mystery, the gap, the emotional pause that creates tension, and tension is the hook that pulls the subconscious closer. When a man meets a woman who doesn't rush to fill silence, who doesn't over-explain, who sits in her energy like she knows it speaks louder than any words, his brain doesn't fully understand her. And that's exactly the point. What the brain can't label or control, it obsesses over. Subconscious attraction is also built on contrast. The contrast between softness and strength, warmth and detachment, availability and boundaries. When you embody both, when he never quite knows which side he'll get, you become emotionally textured. and that texture gives his mind something to grip onto. You're no longer just a nice girl or a cool vibe. You become an emotional experience, and experiences, not appearances, are what the subconscious craves most. This is why chasing, convincing, or proving your worth backfires. It floods the space. It removes the tension. But when you hold your ground, stay rooted in your value, and let him come forward to meet you, his subconscious begins creating storylines, attaching meaning, and building desire around the idea of you. That's how you stay on his mind. Not by trying harder, but by understanding that true attraction begins below the surface, long before he can explain why he keeps coming back to you, even when he tells himself he shouldn't. Here's the part that most people avoid talking about. And yet, it's one of the biggest reasons men pull away, even when there's real interest at the beginning. Most women, without even realizing it, start leading with anxiety instead of presence. They feel a spark, they get excited, and then the mind kicks in. What does he think of me? Is he losing interest? Should I text? Should I wait? Before they know it, they're no longer connecting from self-trust. They're connecting from fear. And that energy, even if unspoken, changes everything. Men are incredibly attuned to energetic shifts. When a woman starts seeking validation, over-explaining her intentions, or performing for approval, it triggers something deep in his brain, not conscious thought, but emotional data. And what it tells him is, she's no longer being herself, she's trying to be chosen. And that's the moment the attraction begins to fade. Because here's the paradox, the very effort you put in to get closer can actually create distance. Not because you're not enough, but because the energy behind that effort doesn't feel grounded. It doesn't feel self-owned. It feels like you're reaching for him to complete something inside of you. And whether he understands it or not, it makes him pull back. Another big mistake is over-availability. Being too ready to respond. Dropping everything the moment he calls. Always being on, emotionally, physically, mentally. That kind of energy doesn't create mystery. It creates predictability. And predictability kills polarity. When a woman loses herself in the process of trying to hold his attention, she stops being the woman he was originally drawn to. The one who had her own world, her own rhythm, her own emotional gravity. He didn't fall for your ability to chase him. He fell for your ability to stay in your power. What pushes a man away isn't attitude, independence, or even disagreement. It's the moment he senses you've made him your emotional center. When your mood rises and falls based on what he does, that's not love, that's emotional dependency. And whether he knows it consciously or not, that weight doesn't feel romantic. It feels heavy. The irony, when you stop trying to keep him, that's often when he truly sees you. When you return to your own energy, when you reclaim your attention, when you stop performing and start embodying, that's when his interest reignites. Not because you played a game, but because you remembered who you are. And that version of you, she's magnetic, she's rare, and she's the one who doesn't have to chase anyone to be remembered. You've probably heard the term high-value woman 100 times. But let's get something straight. Being high-value isn't about looking a certain way, having a perfect life, or knowing all the right things to say. In fact, the most high-value women say less. And still, they command the most attention. Why? Because value doesn't scream. It doesn't perform. It radiates. It's an energy, a way of being. It's how you carry yourself when no one's watching, and especially when someone is. Think of the women who walk into a room and shift the energy without even opening their mouth. They're not trying to be seen. They're not desperate to prove anything, but you feel them. That's the power of being rooted in your own worth. You don't need to convince anyone of your value when you actually believe in it. That belief is silent, but it speaks volumes. It shows up in how you walk, how you make eye contact, how you don't rush to fill every silence. It's in your posture, your pause, your ability to stay calm when things don't go your way. A high-value woman doesn't beg for clarity, because she knows she brings clarity simply by existing. She doesn't chase attention, because she knows her attention is what others seek. She doesn't compete, compare, or collapse her boundaries just to be liked. Why? Because she knows what she's worth, and she doesn't need to advertise it. What makes her magnetic is how safe she feels within herself. She doesn't need a man to make her feel chosen. She already chose herself. And here's the twist. That kind of presence activates something deep in the masculine. It's not just attraction, it's respect, it's intrigue, it's I want to know more about her, but I can't quite figure her out. And that mystery, that's what lingers. Because most women lead with noise, they overshare, they overpromise, they overcompensate. But a woman who leads with stillness, with self-trust, that's unforgettable. You don't need to over-explain your standards, you just hold them. You don't need to talk about how loyal or kind or special you are, you simply are. And the people who recognize it, those are your people. And the rest, let them go. Being high value without saying a word, means you know that silence is a language. And when you use it well, it becomes your loudest message. The right man doesn't need to be convinced. He'll feel it. He'll notice how different you are from what he's used to. Not because you tried to be different, but because you're done trying to be anything other than yourself. That's the energy that stays in his mind, long after you've left the room. Irresistibility isn't about being the loudest, the most beautiful, or the most available. It's about your energy. And the moment you understand how to shift it, even slightly, everything starts to feel different. People respond differently. He responds differently. Because the truth is, attraction happens in the space between your words, in how your energy lands. If you're constantly anxious, trying to figure him out, trying to be one step ahead, your energy becomes scattered. He might not consciously know what it is, but he'll feel it. Something will feel off, too much, too soon, too available. But when you learn to slow down your energy, to move from grasping to receiving, from proving to allowing, the shift is immediate. One of the most powerful energy shifts you can make is moving from chasing to choosing. Instead of thinking, does he like me? Ask, do I even want this energy in my life? Instead of, why hasn't he texted? Think, I trust that what's meant for me doesn't need to be chased. That shift alone, from lack to abundance, from fear to calm confidence, changes how you speak, how you move, and how people feel around you. Another shift, from performance to presence. You don't need to charm him, impress him, or keep the conversation going. Just be there, fully, eyes soft, shoulders relaxed, breathe deeper, say less. When you're truly present, not performing, not planning your next move, he feels that, and it makes him slow down too. It pulls him in. Also shift your energy, from control to curiosity. So many women try to manage outcomes, texting at just the right time, saying things that sound chill, playing it cool but dying inside. That's not power. That's fear dressed up as strategy. Real power comes from curiosity, from being okay with not knowing, from watching someone reveal themselves and letting the truth land, even if it's not what you wanted. And finally, shift from scarcity to self-sufficiency. Don't approach dating as if this is your only chance to be loved. That energy is repelling. But when your energy says, I'd love to build something beautiful, but I'm already whole either way, he feels that detachment, not coldness, just inner stability. And that energy, that's what he keeps coming back for. Because irresistible women don't beg, prove, or perform. They shift inwardly. They learn how to sit in their own worth, move with intention, and let their energy speak louder than their words. And once you master that, you don't need to try so hard to be remembered. You become the experience that lingers, not because of what you said, but because of how he felt when you walked in the room. You don't have to be in the same room with someone for them to feel you. You don't even have to be texting or calling for your presence to echo in their mind. The most unforgettable connections aren't built through constant contact. They're built through emotional imprinting. And the truth is, you're leaving an imprint every time you interact with someone, whether you realize it or not. Think about the last time someone crossed your mind unexpectedly. Maybe it was a person you hadn't spoken to in weeks or months, yet something about them lingered. That's what an emotional imprint is. A subtle, powerful memory tied to a feeling. Not a phrase, not a gesture, but a feeling. And the way to create it is by being intentional with the energy you bring when you are present. When you interact with him, even briefly, make sure the energy you're giving is authentic and grounded, not rushed, not desperate, not rehearsed. People don't remember the details of what you said. They remember how they felt in your presence. Did they feel seen? Did they feel curious? Did they feel calm and drawn in? That's what leaves a mark. And here's the paradox. The imprint forms not in the constant reaching out, but in the absence that follows. When you fill every silence with a text, a call, or a post designed to stay relevant, you erase the very tension that allows an imprint to deepen. But when you step back, when you trust the space, when you resist the urge to keep reminding him of you, his mind begins to do the work for you. It starts replaying the moments you did share, the way you smiled, the tone of your voice, the way you carried yourself without needing validation. That's why mystery and space are so powerful. It's not about manipulation. It's about trusting that you've already left a mark and you don't have to force it. Every time you return to your own life, your passions, your friends, your growth, you amplify your magnetic field. He feels that even if he can't name it, and that sense of self-sufficiency, that calm confidence becomes addictive. Creating an emotional imprint without contact is simply living in such a way that your presence lingers naturally. It's allowing him to experience the absence, to miss you, to fill in the blanks with his own imagination. And imagination is always more powerful than anything you could say or do. When you understand that, you stop trying to be unforgettable. You are unforgettable, even in silence. Detachment isn't about pretending not to care. It's not about being cold, distant, or unavailable just to make someone chase you. That's not power. That's performance. Real detachment is freedom. It's the quiet, internal knowing that you are safe with or without someone's attention. And when you embody that energy, everything shifts, including how men show up around you. Because the truth is, men don't chase women who are emotionally entangled in proving themselves. They chase women who have mastered the art of staying connected without clinging, who can enjoy a moment deeply and still walk away from it, fully intact. That energy, that's rare, that's magnetic, that's the art of detachment. When a woman is truly detached, her power doesn't come from what she withholds, it comes from what she chooses. She doesn't need to post stories just to remind him she exists. She doesn't text just to get a reaction. She doesn't create drama to feel significant. She knows that if a man wants her in his life, he'll show up. And if he doesn't, that's her answer. But here's what most people get wrong. They think detachment means shutting down emotionally. It doesn't. It means being fully open to love, but never attached to a particular outcome. It's being able to love someone's presence without fearing their absence. It's knowing how to hold space for desire without sacrificing your self-worth when that desire isn't returned. And men feel that deeply. When you're emotionally available but not emotionally dependent, he feels safe and challenged all at once. You're not predictable. You're not leaning in too far. You're not waiting by your phone for validation. You're living. And that energy pulls him in because he has to rise to meet it. You're no longer chasing, guessing, or managing his perception of you. You're just being fully, unapologetically, and with your own emotional center intact. That's when a man starts to chase. Not because you manipulated him, but because you became a mirror of his deepest desire, someone who chooses him without needing him. Detachment is also what protects your peace. It stops you from overthinking, from obsessing over every word or silence. It gives you the space to observe someone instead of constantly reacting to them. It's what allows you to receive love rather than scramble to earn it. And this is key. When a man knows he doesn't automatically have access to your emotional world, he values it more. He knows it's something sacred, something he has to show up for consistently, not casually. Your detachment teaches him that you are not for temporary curiosity. You are for deep aligned connection, and that if he doesn't bring that, you won't fight to stay. You'll simply leave, lovingly, quietly, completely. That is the power of detachment. It's not bitterness, it's not games, it's grace. It's knowing you are the prize and living like it, regardless of who shows up. And ironically, that's exactly when they do show up, because that energy, that peace, that self-possession, that's what he chases, not because he has to, but because he wants to. Let's bring it all together. By now you've probably realized, staying on his mind isn't about chasing, pleasing, or constantly being available. It's about the energy you hold, the boundaries you keep, and the self-worth you don't negotiate. None of this is about playing hard to get. It's about becoming so secure in who you are that he naturally wants to come closer, because your energy feels different. It feels rare. We started with the truth that the most unforgettable women aren't the ones who try the hardest. They're the ones who know how to create a feeling, a lasting emotional imprint, through their presence, not their performance. Then we uncovered how attraction really works, through mystery, space, and emotional contrast. The subconscious responds to uncertainty, to intrigue, to energy that's not immediately understood. That's why detachment is powerful, not because it's cold, but because it signals self-trust, and self-trust is magnetic. We also explored what pushes him away: anxious energy, over-availability, and constantly trying to manage his perception. These things feel heavy, even when your intentions are good. But when you shift your focus inward, when you stop trying to control his experience and start taking full ownership of your own, that's when everything changes. And maybe most importantly, we dove into the energy shifts that make you irresistible, shifting from chasing to choosing, from control to curiosity, from performance to presence, from lack to abundance. Every one of those shifts invites a man to step up, not because you demanded it, but because your energy commands it. So what's the mindset moving forward? You don't need to be perfect to be unforgettable. You don't need to be low maintenance, or overly agreeable, or emotionally bulletproof. You just need to know yourself, protect your peace, prioritize your joy, let people come to you, and let them show you who they are before you decide how much of you they get. From this place, you won't have to ask, is he thinking about me? Because the version of you who lives in alignment, who radiates calm confidence, who knows when to lean in and when to walk away, she stays on his mind, not by force, but by frequency. This isn't about controlling anyone else, it's about elevating you. And the more you do that, the more naturally you become the kind of woman who isn't just remembered, she's felt, long after the moment has passed, long after the messages stop, long after he thought he moved on. So keep doing the inner work, let your energy speak, and never forget you are the experience.